Welcome back to First Reads right here on ET Now, and let's deep dive into the power sector, and let's take the discussion forward with Mr. Alok Kumar, former Secretary of Minister of Power of Government of India, joining us on the show. Mr. Kumar, thank you so much for your time. And firstly, with respect to the latest numbers, so India did record a peak power demand of 241 gigawatt in June, which is lower than the government's estimate of 270 gigawatt. Apart from the early monsoons in several regions, are there any other factors that would have contributed to this lower than expected demand, and is this decline seasonal in nature or hinting something else?
Very good morning, and thanks for having me on this show. My assessment is that this is completely weather related. Otherwise, generally the demand pattern will continue to be strong as far as power sector of India is concerned, and this will have more such say weather related surprises in future also. That is the given thing which we'll have to account for in going forward.
Right. Mr. Kumar, so how prepared is the grid infrastructure to handle this peak demand spike that one sees above 270 gigawatts, if and when they occur later this year?
Yeah, my understanding is that our grid expansion and grid planning and also capacity expansion planning is robust enough to take care of the seasonal spikes and seasonal troughs, and system is very well geared. Only thing is that going forward, India will require more of flexible resources like the pumped storage projects or battery projects to take care of such dips in renewable energy. Maybe in some seasons, like in winter, when in the morning you have a very strong, say, demand ramp up, but sun is not there, say, till 8 a.m. So there will be occasion for which my sense is the grid planners and system planners are quite aware. If you see the reports by Grid India on their websites, so there is not much to worry, but we have to keep working that capacity expansion is taken care timely.
Understood. But Mr. Kumar, if there is a sustained dip in demand the way we have seen over the last few days, will it then affect the financial viability of DISCOMs or delay capacity addition plans?
There are two things. This, I said, is only very seasonal thing. If you study the long-term trend, even for the last 15-20 years, there is a good report by Grid India. So demand has been increasing more than 5 to 6%, and peak demand has been going up by more than 6%. So this will not impact the investment sentiments, and India will need a strong pipeline of projects both in generation and transmission. As far as DISCOM viability is concerned, I feel they are into the cost plus regime, and the power purchase cost is a pass through if it is procured prudently, and the regulator ensures that. But DISCOM viability is not going to be impacted by such seasonal dips in the power demand.
All right, but also let's talk about the AC temperature standardization norms that the government is planning for. So what are your first thoughts about it? How do you think it will help to tackle India's energy demand, given that AC usage significantly strains the power supply?
I think this is a very wise move because there are projections that going forward, more than 30-40% of the peak demand of India in non-solar hours may come from the cooling load. So it's a good nudge to the manufacturers that the minimum temperature setting can't be done below 20 degrees C, because going by our day-to-day experience, even 20 degrees C is good enough. It's a good nudge that to narrow the band of air conditioning load so that we are able to manage our demand. For an example, if you go to a 5-star hotel and attend any conference, more than on majority of occasions, I've realized that the cooling is so much that it's very uncomfortable. So if we do it by manufacturing settings, I think it's a step in correct direction.
Oh, absolutely. Also, beyond the industrial and domestic consumption, which emerging sectors do you think, or trends perhaps that you have spotted, you think will see or drive future electricity demand among EVs, data centers and others?
Uh, I uh, I feel for India, at least for next 10 to 15 years, the EV and data center would add not very significantly. They will of course be addition. The most growth will come from the space cooling demand. As we see the faster urbanization and increase in incomes and people going for air conditioners. So for India's power sector, the thing to worry is the demand from the space cooling.
Understood. So that's as
Uh,
far as
uh, 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 if I can add, like for example, the data center projections are that by 2030 we will be maybe around 4 to 5 gigawatt at the most. For a grid which can handle a 250 gigawatt and it will be something like 300 gigawatt by 2030, would you believe that data center load increasing from less than 1 gigawatt to 5 gigawatt is going to matter much? No. Similarly, electric mobility, if you see the consumption figures released by CA, they are minuscule. For India's power sector for next 1 decade, the thing to worry is the air conditioning load. Yeah.
Understood. So those are as far as demand drivers are concerned. But the government recently cleared 5,400 crore under the VGF scheme for battery storage. S&P report is also forecasting capex doubling to 800 to 850 billion dollars by 2030, with power leading the charge. How is India expected to prioritize within the power sector when it comes to generation, transmission, and storage going forward?
See, there are some new segments like generation and transmission are established segments. So they can be taken care by the existing market arrangements or long-term PPAs. But storage is urgently required for India's power sector. If we see the prices in day-ahead market during solar hours, they've been touching almost zero, or sometimes even marginally negative. So that shows that India's power system needs storage very badly and urgently. So government has taken a very say, good step because market-based arbitrage opportunities are good enough only for 2 hour battery storage as of now. But what India's most of the states need storage for 4 hours. So it is not entirely viable on market arbitrage opportunity. And many state discoms are now going for procuring the battery capacities on long term. So for them, this VGF will be a big help to them to keep their power procurement costs in control, and this will also stabilize the power markets and power system.
Mr. Kumar, there was a recent S&P report, and that also says that within the power sector, renewables are going to be a key investment area. How do you see this vertical shaping up? And within renewables, where is it that you see the highest growth, given that stakeholders have time and again, raised concerns over PPA issues?
Going forward, most of the investment in generation segment will come from renewables. That is true. The conventional or coal-based power, maybe 5 to 6 gigawatt a year, but renewables will be more than 30, even to 35 gigawatt per year. And most of it, maybe close to 80% will come from solar and batteries. So most of the future investment opportunities in India's power sector, as far as generation is concerned, will be solar plus battery storage. Wind will also play an important part, but nothing like comparable to solar and battery. And in transmission, I say more and more investment will be required in intrastate segment, because as India has moved to give the waiver of transmission charges only to the storage projects, so there will be rebalancing of say location of the renewable energy projects to within the state of consumption, and that will drive more investment needs in the say intrastate transmission systems.
Also, Mr. Kumar, the government has announced 1100 kilowatts of ultra-high voltage lines by 2034. What are the technological and financial implications of this move?
Oh, actually, you see, we have only two technologies: the high voltage AC and high voltage DC. High voltage DC is very expensive, and supply chain is so constrained that it is very uncertain. And India will require say high capacity transmission corridors for making our grid work. So this is the right step. And in some other parts of the world, I believe in China and Russia, they're also working on the AC voltages which are higher than 800 kilovolt. So this is a progressive and future-looking step, and I think this will go in right direction, because as you increase the voltages, the need of right-of-way corridors and will come down, and losses also come down. So high voltage AC corridors will be the need of the hour going forward for India's power system.
Understood. So that's as far as demand is concerned. But power companies, when they released their fourth quarter results, they were expecting an increase in summer power demand. But since that has not played out over the last few days, do you expect this to impact earnings of the industry in this quarter?
See, that maybe you may earn little less in this quarter, you may earn little less in that quarter. As I have said, going forward, trend will be increasing demand. And at the same time, say our regulatory ecosystem will have to work towards capacity markets, because this is the classical problem of missing money, that your expected earnings from energy markets are not certain. So to make these systems viable and investment worthy, this part of the earnings will have to come from capacity payments. That is one regulatory gap which I've been always advocating in the last 2 years, that our regulators need to move quickly to put in place the capacity markets in India that will take care of the concerns of the investors if their earnings from energy markets keep on changing according to weather-related events or other temporary phenomena. But when an investment comes, it needs assured capacity payments for the next 2 to 3 years. That is the way all developed markets have moved on.
All right, Mr. Kumar, with this, we let you go on that note. Thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.